America great again slogan.
Under your administration, under the Obama's administration, under the Bush, under the Clinton, the very same things happen, and the very same systems and cycles continue to ensue. And we need to see, because you say again, we need to see when was that great, because that pushes us back to a time in which we cannot identify with such greatness. And I mean, you've said everything else about choking and everything else, but you have yet to address and acknowledge that there's been a race problem in America.
So if you go, well, I hope there's not a race problem. I can tell you there's none with me, because I have great respect for all races, for everybody. This country is great because of it. But when you go back 6 months and you take a look at what was happening, you can't even compare that with past administrations.
All right, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in the gospel of bride, lift up the stern of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, wherever it may be. This is an interview. This Christian pastor, this guy on the right with the shaved head, I guess he was doing an interview with Trump, basically telling him, like, when have America ever been great for so-called Negroes, okay? And Trump basically spewed his rhetoric about the last 6 months has been the greatest it's ever been, which I could totally disagree with that. And while a lot of things that this Jake is saying is like on point when it comes to a political dual aspect, but as far as his mindset and his reasoning towards these endeavors, he's way out of pocket, because what Jake don't understand, and the sad part about it is this man is claiming to be a Christian pastor. So if he opened the book, he would know the reason why we don't have such rights in this particular dynamic here. All right, so to show you that these men of our nation, they're not spiritual, and the spirit is not dealing with them whatsoever, because for you to go to the devil and say, well, what can you do for so-called Negroes? You have to understand that you are in the land of your captivity, man. As well as these heathens understand their curriculum here to push on the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you Israelites don't seem to understand this. And this is why Trump is really beating around the bush and basically feeding you lies, all right, because he knows that America was never great for people of quote-unquote minority, all right, and it was never intended to be, and it never will be. In fact, things are getting ready to get worse for you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans around the time of the election, because now you're pent up against a tyrannical force now that you're going to have to be forced to take a side, which majority of you will side with the devil, unknowingly and willingly. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit of this video, and I know the audio is low, so you got to bear with me. I'm in a vehicle as well, so I ask that you bear with me and at least, try to understand. But anyway, here we go.
Joining us now is that man, Pastor Carl Day. Pastor, thanks so much for being with us. We do appreciate your time this morning. Why was it important for you to ask that question to the president?
Well, it was important for me. Good morning and thank you. It was important for me because as a black man growing up in America, consistently, just seeing the conditions of my communities, the plight of people, my people, just reading and being educated on the African American experience even before I was around or came into existence. This was an issue. So hearing that tagline and so many people running with it, now to my understanding, President Trump did not start it, but he certainly ran with it, championed it. So hearing that, it always just played in my mind, and I would always ask people when, getting into these political squabbles and debates, when was America really great for African Americans? So when presented the opportunity to actually ask the president a question, legitimately just serving my community, seeing the plight, seeing the fight that we have to go through, and really being on the side of fighting injustices and trying to help the oppressed, I had to ask that question to the president.
I get it. Tell me, Mr. President, when you think it was so great for African Americans, that could be a framework with which to judge him if he gave you an insight into what he was really thinking. So, how satisfying?
And you know what? Esau knows that America has never been great for Jakes. The reason why you see a great number of these Edomites marching with Jake, even though a lot of them are paid to do so, to bring in stage chaos. But one main reason, paradigm, about why you're seeing them march with these Jakes is because now they're basically living the same life that we've lived for hundreds of years now. Paycheck to paycheck, on the verge of being evicted, taxes and stuff are piling up. They're understanding what it's like to be so-called minorities in the country that was built for them. That's the reason why you would see a so-called white woman wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt if she's not paid off or a paid agitator. All right, and that's what you tribes going to find out the hard way amid these elections, amid these particular draconian measures that they're trying to stifle out. You're going to see that this was a big joke playing on your emotion and your feebleness to want to belong and integrate in a society that was never meant for your integration. Never was, never will be, because you have to understand, according to Deuteronomy 7:6, the Most High Yahweh made us a separate nation. He says, thou art peculiar and a holy nation. A holy goes into being separate, okay? Kodash, which means holy, all right? So that means to be separate, to set aside, to be set apart. And you're not exemplifying your will to be holy because you want to march hand in hand. You think that Esau is really going to put monies in the ghettos and it's not going to be some type of proverbial catch behind it, then something is seriously wrong with your thinking. And this is the reason why a lot of our people are willingly walking to the slaughterhouse unknowingly, because they really believe that America's end game. They believe that this is where they're supposed to be. And the sad thing about it is, once again, this guy stated he's like a preacher, a pastor. For one thing, you got a bald head, which that's off according to the scriptures. Second of all, if you open up your Bible and didn't focus on Jesus wept so much, or John 3:16, you actually went to the beginning of the book and you actually read through the Bible and linking the precepts, you will see clearly, if the Spirit moves on you to do so, you will clearly see that the Israelites were meant to be in shambles before their enemies, because this is part of the curse. This is our punishment. All right? But you Jakes refuse to believe that, and you refuse to accept that, because in your mindset, you always want to play the victim, which in many cases, we are the victim. But at the same time, we brought this atrocity on ourselves. More you 2/3 than the hopeful elect. I'll say it that way. But nonetheless, we're acknowledging our offenses and returning it to the Lord, while you tribes are steady trying to eat from the master's table. All right?
I agree with his answer.
Well, I wouldn't say that's right at all, but I'll say this. I know I had tons of people in my mentions and messages, and more people were angry that he didn't answer it. To be honest with you, him not answering it wasn't answering for me.
Well, he's not going to answer the question. How can he answer that? I mean, everybody know he's a blatant liar, but he can't answer a question he don't have the answer to. He know America hasn't been great. What have America ever done for so-called black people? Nothing. Besides build jails and build them and put them in slums and put drugs and weapons on our streets. Tainted food. Bogus laws to get our nation to completely eviscerate themselves. Like in that All Eyes on Me movie, Pac's mother was telling him, she said, look, they're going to give you all the tools you need to destroy yourself. And they've done that with Jake, starting with drugs, okay? Drugs, and then it led on to other things. Now look at Jake. They're totally a victim and a product of, let's say, black culture, which is symbolic of death, all right?
No, so, because I already knew that there was no direct error that he could point to. In fact, the fact that he said go back 6 months prior to COVID, and he's saying that that's when it was greater than when it ever been under any administration. So pretty much what he did was tell on himself to sit here and run, with this phrase, make America great again. In 2016, that was to allude that America actually was great at some point, but now he told us just 6 months ago it actually became.
Well, Jake, when he say make America great again, he's really talking about for his people, because at a point in time, America was great for Esau. Okay, going back into the 50s, the 40s, after the recovery from the Great Depression, then the baby boomers, you had all these steel tycoons from the early 1900s that transferred their wealth, all right, to get the economy back open, going into the baby boomers. It was real great for Esau, like the Leave It to Beaver years, the white picket fence, the cattle, the 3 children with the family. You had the nuclear family. You had Esau working manufacturer jobs, finishing school. America was beautiful for these people, and that's what he means. He's going to make it great again for them and bring it back slavery for us. All right, because I don't care what any of you Jake say. I got a good so-called white friend. At the end of the day, if Trump was to force slavery again by the noose, and also he was to bring it back at gunpoint and put you back in involuntary servitude, hardcore bondage, I guarantee your best Edomite friend will be well with it. And the ones that ain't with it, they just gonna be killed off. Alright? So America was never great for you, Jake. And sad you don't realize that right now.
Greater than it has ever been. So with that being said, according to his logic, before 6 months ago, before the pandemic, that's when it was finally great. So but with that being said, he pretty much answered it by not answering it, because it never really existed for African Americans.
And he's going to say, one of the things he did say, to your point, is...
And the reason why he don't know, because he keep using that term African American. See, my thing, you're trying to get equality rights from the devil, but then again, you're trying to succeed from him, but yet you still using his byword he put on us. That's why the Most High is going to keep you here to be destroyed. African American. Come on, man. We ain't no African North America. We ain't named after two so-called white men, after two we not named after a corporation, all right? America's a corporation. You know, Jake's got to get with the program, but for the most part, majority of you are not going to get with it. It's going to be too late, you know, because like I said, the times we entering into with this type of mindset, you will be a casualty, man, and I'll guarantee you that. And I'm not just speaking at him, I'm speaking at anybody that thinks like this individual here. And like I said, it's a crying shame you claim to be a man of the Bible, but yet you can't answer these simple questions. You tribes, man, the Lord has had enough of you.
He said that his administration constituted the single best moment for African Americans, the African American community, in the history of the nation. What do you think of that, nation?
Man, I think that's laughable. Very, very comical. What I do think and what I do believe President Trump himself and many others are actually doing is just showing their hand that they really haven't journeyed through these inner cities of America, these same places and spaces that I speak about when I asked about the ghetto, the hood. You know, they really haven't been on the grounds. They haven't really spoken to the people. They don't journey with the folks. And this is one of the reasons why so many people, especially African American boys, are in these communities really feeling voiceless, really feeling as if they're not sure if their vote really matters at the end of the day.
The vote don't matter, okay? Look at it this way. Let's say if you had an eagle. Okay, how can I say this? What's something that all birds have in common? For the most part, wings, right? Can't really be called birds without wings. But okay, if you look at an eagle, an eagle has a left wing and a right wing. Now, even though they're two different wings, but they're part of the same body. Same thing with your Democrat and Republicans, man. All right? The Democrats and Republicans are set up as an illusion to make you people think you have some sort of merit or power or voice, so you do not riot or really go wring the necks, man. They don't want you to know that. They're playing with you. They've told you years ago that the Electoral College is the one that puts the presidents in office. So your vote never counted. Like let's say if nobody voted for Trump and he lost completely, 100%. If the elites want him in there, guess what? He's going to be in there. They're going to find out how to finagle him in there. Period. There's nothing you have to do about it. Your vote do not count. Your voice don't count. And then the crazy part about it is you got majority of our Jakes talking about, well, we got to vote for Biden. Why would you vote for Biden? Why would you vote for another demon that's probably even more of a demon, that's really more out there with his perverted tendencies? You know, at least Trump lies, even though he's a terrible liar. He lies about it. This guy blatantly come out in roundabout ways and tell you that, look, I want your kids. And you know how many kids you Jakes like having out of what they call wedlock, which there's no such thing, but you get what I'm saying. So you tribes, man, you're lost, man. You're at your last hope voting for talking about a lesser evil. No, he's not necessarily lesser evil, but evil is evil. Because you refuse to come back to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. That's why the Lord's gonna reject the 2/3 of you. You know, because honestly, if it was up to you tribes, we would never get out of here. Y'all would keep this place afloat as long as you could. All right, you would never call on the name of the Lord. You would never praise the Most High. You would rather worship white Christ and live under a white supremacy, draconian type system that's going to enslave you until they kill you off. So this is the book of Psalms 83:1. It says, keep not thou silence, O power. It said, hold not thy peace, and be still, O power. It says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they have hate, they have lifted up the head. All right? And it's going to tell you the nations that hate you. It says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. The hidden ones are you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right? You Israelites. Why you're hidden? Because you're not going by your name. And this man proved that because he said African Americans. Proving that you still believe you're African, and then you know you believe you're American. No, you're not African, but you do have what you call American citizenship. Because you are a product or property of the United States of America. You're property of this corporation, unwillingly. It says here, it says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So this is what happens when they throw you in the slums and the ghettos, you know, the bottos, you know, when they put you part of these public institutions, and then ironically the prison population is 70% of you jakes, including the Latin tribes too. You know, so it's just like y'all so hell-bent on hating Trump, which Trump is nothing but the devil, but it's just like y'all so simple. Y'all don't see that this whole system is, they come in the same commonality. They come in the same mindset that Trump comes in, man. What you don't get because one party is able to speak a little bit more smoother and more subtle to you, you seem to forget where you are. It says, they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. Why was Edom the first one? Because that's the main enemy, Esau. He hates you, the so-called white man. And then when you understand that, then you can start putting the puzzle pieces together. But you ain't trying to understand it. It says, and of Moab and the Hagarenes and Gebal and Ammon and Amalek and the Philistines and the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyrians also joined with them, and they have hopen to the children of Lot, Salah. So they broke down a nation of people that's for your demise, Jake. All right? So what you're talking about, man, it doesn't make sense, and it will grant you no merit, and that's a guarantee. So anyway, let's play a little bit more. I got a couple of precepts lined up anyway.
Because again, there's no plan there. And to see a president fail to acknowledge racism altogether, and even that we have a race issue.
Well, why would he acknowledge that when he's a racist? You know, he's not gonna tell you. He knows it. That's why he's beating around the bush. You know what, you're gonna make this man say I hate you? No, he ain't gotta say. Look, they say actions are louder than words. He ain't gotta tell you anything. They have something which is called plausible deniability. He don't have to tell you squat, but he can show you. All right, prime example: a woman, right? Don't tell me you love me and you don't show me. You know, you got to show me. Matter of fact, like Apostle Gabar said, and I agree with this statement. I've said this before to a woman. I said, I don't need your love. I need you to fear me. Fear him. And fear doesn't mean you supposed to just be like, oh, you fear supposed to, it just really fear merits respect and love. And you fear somebody because you know what they can do to you if you transgress against them. See, real fear comes love. That's why we love the Most High, because we fear him. And with that fear, he shows us his love, vice versa. You know, that's proven with your actions. By fearing somebody, you love them. You know, because you would never disrespect them. But if you just love somebody, man, please, you'll run all over that person, because love grants unsettling emotions. Okay? Same thing with Trump saying, hey, I don't have a problem with nobody. Sure you don't, but you're showing it. And Jake picking up on it, but he's want to understand why. What you need to understand why for? It's in the scriptures. We're reading it right now. You know, but you refuse to believe that. It got to be another way. Nah, that can't be right. God didn't bring us over here for that. Well, let's see how far you and your God is going to get you in these times, man. Like, that's funny. I just drove past this billboard. It says, worried. It had this Edomite dude on there with his head down. Jesus offers security. Sure he does. What security going to offer you when the troops are busting down your door at gunpoint and throwing you and your family in concentration camps? How much security is that?
It also failed to really point to how the urban inner city where African Americans live actually is experiencing any greatness. That's very troubling.
So you were an undecided voter going into the event last night. What were you undecided about, and what's your process in decision making this morning?
I'm so glad you asked, and I hope more people are watching this so I can be clear for the last time. But I went in undecided for a reason. because I have yet to really hear either candidate explicitly explain what will they do to help those who are living in these ghettos that America helped create and shape for African Americans. I've yet to hear, people pointed me to Biden's website yesterday. Again, these guys campaign and spend billions to jump on TV.
Oh man, I apologize for this low audio, man. I don't know if it's my phone or just CNN is what, but the audio is pretty low, man. So I said, if your brothers, you got whatever Bluetooth or a loudspeaker, if you can play this video on that, you can really hear what this man is saying, or you can really, matter of fact, I can just post a link in the description box, and you can watch this video that this Jake guy's on there, and you can formulate your own opinion from that point, because I know the audio was low, and by me being in this truck, it don't make it no better, man. So once again, my sincere apologies to you sincere listeners out there. If you can't really get the brunt of the message, man, I apologize about that. It's frustrating, I know. But hey, we just endure it, and let's keep pushing.
The voters get on here and use your platform and explain to an entire demographic majority of us on the these impoverished areas. We need to hear a plan. We need to know that we count and we matter. So when I say I'm undecided, President Trump certainly made my mind. He submitted everything yesterday, but before that, that I won't be going that way. But more importantly, I still need to hear from any other side. So when people are asking me my choice,
Why you need to hear, man? What do you need to hear? You need to hear. Listen, how many politicians have promised you greatness and they delivered on nothing? Come on, if Obama didn't come through for the so-called black race, which according to you, he was one of us, which he's clearly not. If he didn't do nothing for you, what make you think Trump or Biden or Hillary, what make you think that these people are going to do something for you? We just read in Psalms the 83rd chapter how they have lifted up the head, they taken crafty counsel to eviscerate you. And this is when I get upset with Jake, because it's like, man, it's like beating a dead horse. But nonetheless, we got to put this out there, because at the end of the day, you can't get these Jakes no opportunity to say that they was not told. Okay? You not going to play that game no more, man. You ain't going to play that, oh, I didn't know game. We not playing that. No, you know. Y'all watch these videos. Y'all know what's going on. Like that guy Cube. How many Israelite videos that came out about Ice Cube and his whole black contract with America? Come on, dude. You already know what it is, but you might as well just give it up. All right, so this is the book of Micah 2:10. It says, arise and depart, for this is not your rest. Okay? This is not your rest, Jake. This is not your rest. It says rise and depart. It's talking about here in Babylon. You ain't supposed to be even trying to get a handout from these people, because ultimately you have to know who they are and how they feel about you and your people. It says this is not your rest because it is polluted. That's right, it's polluted. It's polluted with the blood of the Israelites. All right? It says here, and it shall destroy you even with a sore destruction. So you keep putting the so-called white man as your trust, like the scriptures say, you trust in oppression. That's gonna be your destruction, man. All right. Matter of fact, let me get another precept real quick, because we coming into some serious times right now, and started here, Matthew 15, and one second. So this is Matthew 15. And I'm going to start at verses 25. It says, then she said, worship him, said, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread to cast it to dogs. And she said, truth, Lord, but yet the dogs of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Okay? So symbolically, you Jakes are pleading to eat from Esau's table. Okay? Even though this is a different parable, having nothing to do with that. But this represents, going into Lazarus, which not that, but I'm equating that to Lazarus and the rich man, how the dogs, which are you heathens, are licking the sores of our people, man. You Jakes are just sitting there, just eating this up, man. So let me pull that precept. Yep, this book of Luke 16. And all right, so this is the book of Luke 16 and 20. It says, and that was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores. Lazarus represents the Israelites. Our people, the so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native American, says full of sores, full of curses, full of diseases. All right, he was sick. We're sickly people, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. These dogs represents these other nations. All right, and Jake is desiring to be fed with the lucrativity of the other nations. They want a piece of the pie, man. Jake is like, how come, you said slavery was abolished, we have rights now, etc. And they ain't did nothing but lie to you, man. Like it tells you in Revelation, it tells you he spake as a lion. I mean, he was as a lion, but spake as a dragon, So that's the type of suffering that our people are suffering from. The so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native American, they're suffering from that hell that they're being put on, and the dogs represents the other nations, because Psalms 83, which is a Bible precept into why the tribes are experiencing the situation that they're experiencing in Salakia. I'm kind of distracted, but I got it. And it says, "And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels of Abraham's bosom, and the rich man died also." Okay, so the beggar is you, Jakes, and basically what this guy, this pastor, is begging for just a fair chance. Like last week, when the verdict of Breonna Taylor came about, then you had this black activist, this woman, of course, and she stated that we just want a fair chance. Just give us rights or something. Like, you can't beg the devil for favor. You should be pleading and begging Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. That is your power. That is your proverbial power there. Okay, that's the one that you need to be in unison with. It's the Most High and His Son, because that's what's going to get you out of your predicament. For those of you tribes out there that's new to this thing, whether you have family members or so forth that's in the church, these are some of the things you're going to have to deal with. All right. And going down to verse 25, it says, "But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in lifetime thou receivest good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted and thou art tormented." And it's going to be a change in paradigm for us, like what it tells you in 2nd Ezra 6th chapter, that Esau is the end of the road, Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So you tribes, you have something good coming into you. You don't even realize that the Lord has good stored up for you, because ultimately all Israel is the elect. But you got the Israel of the Most High, which is the elect of the elect. Because 2/3 of our people, they got to be destroyed and come back and understand why this has happened to them. Because they refuse to get in line with the order of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They refuse to. Alright? So anyway, let's go from here to and Salaki. I know this lesson is pretty drawn out, but it's just one of those things that need to come out. Because you people, you're gonna learn the hard way. Jake, you're gonna learn the hard way that the people you confide in, they have no care for you. Alright? So this is the book of Isaiah 30 and verses 1. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, says Yahweh, that taketh counsel but not of me, and that cover with the covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." Okay? You covering with the covering of Esau Edom. You're not covering the covering with the Most High. And it says here that walk to go down to Egypt, which is symbolically America, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. So once again, he's not the only one. You have several of these so-called black activists that come forth and bring out these motivational speeches on how we have to get our own thing, get our own land. Why can't we get it? Well, you're under the curse, okay? And it has been set up so you tribes do not receive benefits in this kingdom. That's why the laws and provisions are written towards you. Like right now, got some police pulling over Jake right now. You see? That right there, you get harassed the most, you're first fired, last hired. You can have A1 credit and don't even get a business loan. Like one of my coworkers break it down to me how E40 said he had A1 credit, but they still wouldn't give him a loan to get a credit union. They ain't gonna let you get a credit union, Jake. For what? They don't want you spreading wealth to your people. They gonna block that. You cannot get a credit loan. You cannot get a credit union. Versus Ishmael could come over here and get businesses. Moab can come over here and set up businesses to make money over you, but you won't be able to do the same. All right, that's not what they're gonna allow you to do. So Jake, you're destroyed, man. Anyway, let me pull over real quick. I want to finish this lesson up. I don't want to butcher it any more than what I already did. Just give me about 15 seconds, brothers. I want to pull over real quick and do this lesson and get to this job site, man. What they call looking for me, you know. But this work must go forth. These guys ain't even here. All right. So anyway, and it says here, the trust in the shadow of Egypt, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust of the shadow of Egypt your confusion. That's right. So ultimately, when things don't go your way after you've been told that, yeah, we're going to help you, give you grants, it still don't work out for you. All right. Verse 11, matter of fact, 12, it says, wherefore thus says the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise his word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity should be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall whose breaking come at an instant. Okay. So your destruction is nigh because you put hand in hand with the so-called white man, you know. So you can forget about it, man. That's going to be your destruction. One last precept. This is Isaiah 1:6. It says here, from the sole of the foot even into the head there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Okay, so they're not in the business of healing you. Esau Edom is not going to heal you. He's not going to make it better for you. If anything, he's going to make it worse. He's going to create the conditions for you to destroy yourself. All right, but anyway, with that, that's all I have. All praises and glory, honor that's due to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai B'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles of GMS, and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. And shalom.
Let's sit here and publicly make a choice for anyone that have yet to still give me a viable plan. So that's just why I'm stating that I'm undecided on it.
You voted for Jill Stein in 2016 in Pennsylvania, mind you, and there are people who will say that third-party votes helped Donald Trump win the presidency in 2016 and could very well again. So how would you address those people?
I mean, well, I would address those people with this. You know, many of us tell people to get out. I'm a pastor. I'm a black man. I'm a pastor in America. I'm also an activist in my community. I do the work. So my appeal to those people would be this right here. We also need to challenge a system in which continues to tell us it's a binary decision. We have to choose between these lessers of two evils. We as African Americans in America need to ask ourselves, when will we position ourselves to not have to keep choosing from any lesser evil every 4 years? When will we sit here and decide to say, you know, I'll go where my conscience sends me? Because at the end of the day, that's what I do. I'm in a favor of right, and I'll do what God leads me to do. So that guess what? I can wake up every day with a clear conscience, knowing that I didn't support either person, regardless if people says it's a vote for Trump or not. That will potentially bring me to my people. So that's where I'm at with that. That's how I stand.